At 44, Heavy D, the man who made the world dance, was silently battling with his own troubles. What really happened behind that unforgettable smile will break your heart. The hidden battles behind his famous smile. Heavy D was no doubt a frontline rapper, singer, and actor who left an unforgettable mark on hip-hop and R&B. As the leader of Heavy D and the Boys, he helped define the new Jack Swing era with smooth, danceable tracks that blended rap and soul. Beyond his music, he was known for his charm, energy, and mentorship, guiding artists like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci. Over time, Heavy D became an icon not only for his talent, but for his ability to inspire and uplift others in the music world. Heavy D's life looked like a celebration of joy and success. His voice was smooth, his energy contagious, and his smile seemed to light up every room he entered. Fans saw a man who carried happiness wherever he went, but behind that glow was a heart quietly carrying pain. Heavy D's journey was one filled with loss, guilt, and the burden of always having to be strong when the world expected nothing but joy from him. The first great wound of his life came in the year 1990, when tragedy suddenly struck his group, Heavy D and the Boys. Troy Dixon, better known as Trouble T. Roy, was not just a dancer on stage. He was family, a brother, and one of the original hearts that made the group complete. During a tour stop in Indianapolis, a crash took Troy's life in a devastating fall. Heavy D was shattered. The loss came at a time when the group's success was at its peak. Songs were climbing the charts, their tours were filled with excitement, and the future looked unstoppable until that moment. For Heavy D, the pain was indescribable. He had to walk out on stage soon after, singing songs that were once filled with laughter, but now showed grief. The loss of Trouble T. Roy was more than losing a friend. It was losing a part of himself. The music world mourned, but for Heavy D, it was personal and lifelong. Even though he appeared strong publicly, the tragedy left a scar that never truly healed. His cousin Pete Rock and CL Smooth released a powerful tribute, They Reminisce Over You, TRO, to honor Troy's memory. It became an anthem of remembrance, but it also reminded Heavy D daily of the friend he could never bring back. Then, as if fate was testing him, another heartbreak came just 1 year later. In 1991, Heavy D organized a charity basketball game in Harlem to raise money for AIDS education, a cause close to his heart. It was meant to be an event of love, fun, and unity, but what followed became one of the darkest moments of his life. A sudden rush in the crowd turned terribly bad, and 9 young people lost their lives in the stampede. The incident left the community in shock, and Heavy D drowning in guilt. Even though he had no control over what happened, the weight of being connected to such a tragedy broke him inside. He withdrew from the spotlight for a while, struggling to process what had happened. For a man known for bringing joy to others, being linked to so much loss was unbearable. He tried to move forward, but each time he smiled for the camera, that smile carried a shadow of sorrow. Behind his calm eyes lived the memories of people he loved and moments that had gone terribly wrong. Those 2 tragedies, losing Trouble T. Roy and the Harlem Stampede, marked a turning point in Heavy D's emotional life. Many people around him saw him as the confident star who made everyone dance. But few realized how often he faced nights of silence, asking why such pain had followed him so closely. The world kept cheering, expecting him to perform, to entertain, to laugh. But behind that microphone stood a man trying to hold his heart together while pretending everything was fine. As the years went on, Heavy D began searching for new meaning in his life. The music industry was changing, and he felt the urge to build something lasting beyond his own fame. That decision led him into a new phase, one that seemed bright from the outside, but carried its own struggles inside. After the pain and heartbreak of the early 1990s, Heavy D stood at a crossroad. He had experienced the kind of loss that could break any spirit, yet he refused to let grief silence him. The stage had always been his safe place, but even that began to feel heavy. The constant flash of cameras, the endless touring, and the demand to appear strong wore him down. Still, he carried himself with calm dignity, determined to keep moving forward. This new phase had him accepting the position of president at Uptown Records. Seemed like a natural step for someone who had already proven himself as a leader in music. For Heavy D, this new role was more than a promotion. It was a way to redirect his purpose. He wanted to help others grow, to shape careers, and to use his pain as wisdom. He mentored young artists, guiding them through an industry that could be both sweet and cruel. Under his watch, future stars like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci began to shine, but behind the confidence of an executive sat a man who missed the joy of the crowd. Each meeting, each studio session, and each success brought both pride and longing. Heavy D had always been most alive under the lights, hearing fans sing his lyrics back to him. Now he watched others experience that same joy while quietly standing in the background. It was not jealousy. It was a quiet ache that came from giving up something he deeply loved. The applause he once received now belonged to others, and though he was proud of his artists, it felt as if stepping away from the stage had cost him a piece of himself. Even in his new position, Heavy D carried his past with him. The loss of a troubled T. Roy and the tragedy of the Harlem Stampede never faded from his memory. Heavy D learned to live with these memories, but they shaped the way he saw life and success. He began to understand that fame could never protect anyone from pain. For him, music was no longer only about fame or charts, it was about expression and healing. His story during those years became one of quiet resilience. The same man who had faced devastating losses managed to rebuild himself through leadership and mentorship. He found a new identity, not as the star in front of the microphone, but as the force behind the scenes helping others find their voice. However, this wasn't all that Heavy D had to battle with. Health struggles that silently consumed him. From the earliest days of his life, Heavy D's body was a defining part of his identity. Friends and family gave him the nickname Heavy D as a child because of his larger frame. What might have been a source of embarrassment for many became a badge of confidence for him. He embraced the name and built it into his public persona as the overweight lover, a title that reflected both charm and charisma. Fans admired him for his energy, his jokes, and his ability to make people smile. On the outside, he seemed joyful and unstoppable, but behind the scenes, his body carried struggles that were both constant and deeply personal. Maintaining a large frame was never simple. Every day demanded attention, discipline, and careful balance. The pressures of performing, touring, and appearing in the public eye meant that even the smallest challenges could feel magnified. While audiences saw Heavy D's charm and confidence, few saw the hidden weight of these responsibilities pressing on him physically and emotionally. He lived in a world that celebrated his presence, yet required him to constantly negotiate with the limitations his body imposed. One of the clearest examples of the physical struggles he faced came in 2005, when Heavy D took on a lead role in the play Medal of Honor Rag. The role required an intense transformation, pushing him to lose 160 pounds in order to meet the demands of the character. The process was a difficult one for him. He had to change routines he had lived with for decades, adopt strict exercise programs, and face hunger, tiredness, and physical stress daily. It was not just a test of willpower, it was a battle between ambition and the body he had always known. Transforming his body required constant focus, and Heavy D had to balance the demands of the role with the expectations of fans who had always adored him as the overweight lover. Losing weight so much for the stage was both an act of courage and a demonstration of the pressure he endured to expand his career beyond music. In the midst of these visible transformations, there was a quieter, more hidden battle. Heavy D had been living with undiagnosed heart disease, a condition that added invisible strain to his daily life. Unlike the weight he carried openly, this was a silent burden. It influenced how he moved, how he trained, and how he faced each day. It was a continuous challenge, one that required so much strength. Still, he continued performing, creating, and leading with energy, but beneath the surface, His body was constantly managing a serious, unseen risk. Living with undiagnosed heart disease was a silent challenge he had to go through every day. Each performance, each tour, and even everyday movement required careful management of energy and stamina. This brings us to one of the greatest hidden challenges: travel. Extended flights, long hours in confined spaces, and the unplanned schedule of a touring artist all created conditions that added stress to his circulation. For someone with a condition linked to blood clots, these situations required constant care. Even a flight delay or a long period of sitting could become a risk to his life. Heavy D had to go through these challenges with determination, continuing to perform and travel while quietly managing the risks his body faced. The overweight lover was not just a playful nickname. Fans admired his confidence, but they did not see the constant attention, care, and effort he put into managing his health. Even while taking care of his health, a whole new set of challenges came as he equally went through so much pressure to remain relevant in a rapidly changing music industry where he was face to face with the challenges of the music world. Changes in the music industry, his last days, and enduring legacy. Hip-hop was changing quickly, moving toward harder, more aggressive sounds. Heavy D's signature style, the smooth, danceable blend of R&B and hip-hop that defined the new jack swing era, was both a gift and a challenge. While it had brought him fame and popularity, it also risked limiting him, making change necessary for him to continue being in the spotlight. By the early 1990s, he was seriously aware that staying at the forefront of the genre required not just talent, but careful strategy. His album Blue Funk, released in 1992, reflected his willingness to stretch his sound, attempting to embrace a slightly harder edge without losing the charisma fans loved. It was a reminder that behind the joy and danceable beats lay a man constantly battling with maintaining relevance, carefully going between his artistic identity and the shifting tastes of the public. His challenges were not limited to music alone or his health alone. Heavy D also had to navigate the complex responsibilities of executive life. After leaving Uptown Records in 1997, the label disbanded under MCA, marking the end of an era he had helped shape. For a man who had nurtured artists like Mary J. Blige and Joe Diti, this was a personal and professional turning point. He had to refocus and redefine his role in the industry at Universal Music. These transitions demanded so much determination, yet he faced them with the same quiet strength that had carried him through earlier heartbreaks. Even while going through these professional challenges, Heavy D worked tirelessly on a comeback. His album Love Opus in 2011 symbolized not just a return to music, but a personal testament to perseverance. The pressure was strong. He had not performed on a major televised stage in 15 years. His performance at the BET Hip Hop Awards was a moment to prove to himself and the world that he still belonged. His ability to pursue a comeback was a reflection of the depth of his dedication, not only to music, but to the legacy he wished to leave behind. After years of success, mentoring young artists, and navigating changes in the music industry, he was still driven to prove that his voice and artistry remained vital. Planning a new album, preparing for televised performances, and reconnecting with fans required focus, energy, and persistence. Every rehearsal, every studio session, and every performance was part of a larger effort to show that his contributions to hip-hop and R&B were enduring. This comeback was not just about personal achievement, it was a way to inspire others and cement the mark he had made on music. Heavy D knew that his influence extended beyond his own career, reaching the artists he had guided, the fans who had grown up with his music, and the broader culture that had embraced him. By stepping back into the spotlight, he demonstrated that even after decades in the industry, he was willing to work tirelessly, face new challenges, and remain a force in the very world he had helped shape. His comeback embodied resilience, passion, and a desire to leave a lasting, meaningful legacy. Yet, fate intervened tragically. What should have been another chapter of triumph turned into heartbreak, cutting short a brilliant, resilient journey. On November 8, 2011, Heavy D returned home to Beverly Hills from a shopping trip and collapsed outside his house. He was 44 years old and weighed 344 pounds. The cause of his sudden passing was later revealed to be a pulmonary embolism, a serious condition where blood clots block the lungs and reduce the supply of oxygen, making breathing difficult. In his case, the clot had formed as a result of deep vein thrombosis, a condition where blood clots often develop in the legs and can travel to the lungs. Coroners believe the clot likely formed during his long flight back from London. Extended periods of sitting, like on intercontinental flights, can increase the risk of deep vein thrombosis. Heavy D's weight and long-term heart issues made him especially vulnerable. At the time, he was also working on losing weight, adding extra strain to his body. This sudden event shocked friends, family, and fans all over the world. After Heavy D passed away, tributes came from everywhere, showing how much he had touched people's lives. MC Hammer, who had known Heavy D personally and toured with him, shared his grief on Twitter, now X. He wrote that they had shared many great times on tour together and called Heavy D a part of what's good about the world. Hammer's words showed the respect and admiration that other artists had for Heavy D, not just for his music, but for his personality and character. Many other artists, fans, and friends also paid tribute online, sharing memories, pictures, and stories. People remembered him as more than just a rapper. He was a mentor, a friend, and someone who cared deeply about others in the music industry. Heavy D's funeral was held at Grace Baptist Church in his hometown of Mount Vernon, New York. The church was filled with family, friends, fans, and fellow artists who had come to pay their respects. During the service, people spoke about his music, his humor, his generosity, and the way he inspired those around him. Friends and family shared personal stories that showed his kindness and how he always lifted others. The service was both sad and uplifting. It was a time to mourn his loss, but also to celebrate his life and the joy he had brought to others through his music and actions. Many people left the church with memories of his smile, his energy, and the way he made everyone around him feel special. After the funeral service, Heavy D was buried at Ferncliff Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York. Family and friends gathered to say their final goodbyes and to reflect on his life. Even in the sadness of the moment, there was a sense of community and love. In the weeks and months following his passing, tributes continued online, on the radio, and in the media. Many artists said he had inspired their own careers and credited him for his support and guidance. His influence in hip-hop and R&B was celebrated everywhere, showing that his impact reached far beyond his hit songs. Fans held special events, tribute concerts, and online campaigns to honor him. People remembered him not only for his music, but for his heart and the positive mark he left on the world. Heavy D's legacy is one of talent, kindness, and inspiration. He was not just a musician. He was someone who made a difference in the lives of many. He brought joy through his songs, encouraged others to follow their dreams, and help those around him. Even though his life was tragically cut short, his music continues to inspire new generations. His generosity and mentorship are remembered by many in the music industry. Heavy D showed that true greatness comes not only from talent, but from heart. His spirit, his energy, and the joy he brought to people will never be forgotten. He left a lasting mark on music and in the hearts of all who knew him, ensuring that his legacy lives on forever. In the end, there's no doubt that Heavy D's passing at 44 is deeply heartbreaking. Fans, friends, and the music world mourn a life and talent lost too soon. The pain of his absence is felt by many. Yet his music and spirit remain, a bittersweet reminder of the joy he gave and the heartbreak his passing left behind.